And if someone said, "What's your, what are you doing? How are you keeping busy?" I call it unleasing, unleasing, meaning I'm negotiating new lease provisions for tenants who can't pay their rent because of COVID. And it's been all over the place because some tenants are in pretty good shape and others don't only need like a little bit of help, like some deferral for a while, and others are in extremis. And if the landlord wants to keep that tenant, there have to be some very substantial, rent relief that
So
has to be given. So,
what type of relief are you seeing? And just, when this whole started, landlords were willing to give, free rent that they would then tack on to the end of the lease or tack on to the following 7 months or 8 months. What are you seeing, and how
that
far
was,
have landlords gone?
yeah, I mean, so what were the typical techniques? What they still are. One is rent relief. You don't have to pay the next 3 months, or you're going to pay 50% of the scheduled rent. The other might be rent deferral. You're going to owe the money, but we're going to have you pay it back in 2021, whatever, down the road, no interest, no penalties. Another might be, the tenants had 4 months or 5 months worth of security deposit just sitting in some bank account for the last X years. So the tenant's shown that it's a good tenant. The landlord wants to keep that good tenant. Let's take a few months, 2 or 3 months out of that security deposit and apply it to current rent arrears, that kind of thing. So we've had a lot of different permutations and ways of approaching things. And landlords have generally, I don't know if I should say this or not so far, with the exception of my own landlords have generally understood that they have to do something to make this work. And when I say make this work, it's much, there's an old expression, I don't know if it's in matrimonial law or not. It's cheaper to keep her or him. So to keep a good tenant in place, if you can, will in the long run be a very good idea, because just think about empty space. And then when you find somebody, new brokerage commissions, legal fees, and free rent and construction allowances. If you can keep that tenant afloat until things normalize, which they will do eventually, do it. And one other technique I didn't mention before is if you have a tenant who's coming to the end of its current lease term, maybe do the renewal now, and those 2 or 3 months of free rent, which might be part and parcel of the renewal deal, now you can apply that to arrears, or at least give some relief